Okay, go for it.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. So if I can maybe just get you to put your hands up, how many of you have actually heard of direct sales, network marketing, MLM? How many of you have actually heard of those businesses? Any of you? Yes? No?
No,
Okay.
no hands raised.
No hands raised. All righty. Wonderful. So, as Wes mentioned, I have two businesses right now. I guess I've always been an entrepreneur. I was very much influenced by my dad, who was a pretty serious entrepreneur. He started his own building construction business. And as a child, I watched my father as an entrepreneur, watching him as he was creative with taking the designs of an architect and building homes, and also watched him as he was building a team of people. Watched my mum and my dad working together as a team in a business, because my father was the visionary and the dreamer, and my mum was more the person that had her feet on the ground and the one that would be there to actually support my dad and make sure that things happened, like, you know, the employees got paid and they were looked after and so on. So, you know, I started, even though I was employed for many years, I always had something inside of me that was curious, because, and that's the first thing when you think of as being an entrepreneur, that great entrepreneurs, they have a high level of curiosity and they're passionate about different fields of studies and business cases, and they love being able to get outside of their comfort zone. So when I was actually working in a traditional business, and I actually was in sales and I was working on a commission basis, I realized that I had a lot of skills, but I knew that I could never take those skills to the kind of level that I wanted to take it whilst I was actually being employed. That what I had to do was to step out of my comfort zone and actually become an entrepreneur. So even though I was working 60 hours a week, I used to actually give 10 hours a week towards my network marketing business. So I would work 10 hours every week, and I would make sure, because you're going back now to 1997, 1998. So I would always make sure that I was sending out material for people to find out about this network marketing business and to get them to actually partner with me as a business partner. And it wasn't easy, guys. You can imagine if you're working 60 hours a week, then trying to find that extra 10 hours a week to actually create what I saw as a way of being able to be free and to be able to have flexibility and to be able to use the skills and the creativity that I had without having to be, having other people tell me what it is that I needed to do. So I used to get up really early in the morning. I would let people know that I was an employee during the day, but that I was working on my fortune and I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I would set up my appointments early in the morning, or I would set up my appointments at lunchtime or late at night. And I would actually have my little mobile phone. I used to have it in my pocket. At that time, I was actually a smoker. So I used to pretend that I was leaving the building to go out and have a smoke. But what I was really doing is I was actually making my phone calls and using those smoke breaks. Now, I'm not suggesting that any of you do this. I'm not asking you to follow. What I'm trying to show you here is that I did whatever it took to step into the role of being an entrepreneur. And if you want to know why I did that, it's because I knew that I could never ever get to where I wanted to get to. I'd never be able to earn what the CEO earned. I would never be able to earn what the manager actually earned, and that I would always be capped. And it was a great source of it was a great source of frustration for me that led me to want to be an entrepreneur and to step away from being an employee. Now, there's a lot of challenges when you're moving from being an employee to an entrepreneur, because you can't blame everybody. Every morning when you wake up, who do you look at? Who's the boss?
Who you look up who's the boss when you're an entrepreneur?
When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, who's the boss?
Yeah.
Yep, that's you. So your face is staring right back at you. So when things aren't not going right, you can't blame anyone else. But who?
Yeah.
Who can you blame?
They're being very quiet, but they're saying themselves.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right. So you can only blame yourself, can't you? What a gorgeous smile you have on the left-hand side. The lady with a lovely long blonde hair. That's you. Gorgeous smile. Absolutely beautiful. So, so you can't, there's nobody that you can actually blame, all right? The other thing that when you're working as an entrepreneur is also some of the challenges that you have is the loneliness. Because remember, when you're working for a company, you've got other employees, don't you? So you meet up with each other in the tea room or the restroom, or you bump into each other when you're in the corridors. But when you're working as an entrepreneur, very often you're there by yourself. So one of the things that you have to do as an entrepreneur is to make sure that you surround yourself with like-minded people, and you're surrounding yourself with people that are actually going to be supporting you and have similar goals to yourself and are there actually cheering you on, so you want a cheer squad around you. The other thing is, if you're stepping into as being an entrepreneur, is you have to have what? Passion. Because it's the passion that's actually going to drive you. It's the passion that's going to get you up early in the morning. It's the passion that's going to drive you when you're working late at night. It's the passion that's going to drive you when you have some of the disappointments you have. And most of the disappointments are going to come from the fact when you're doing presentations, you're sharing your product or your services, and people actually say no. All right. And the other thing that you need to have as an entrepreneur is you must invest in personal development. There is no way that you can be a successful entrepreneur if you're not investing in yourself. And how do you invest in yourself? You invest in yourself in things that you're doing here right now in courses. All right. You invest in yourself in the books that you actually read. You invest in yourself with the webinars that you attend, or the seminars that you actually go to. So there must be that investment in your mind, because without personal development and without actually investing in your mind, it's not possible to be a successful entrepreneur. So if I can maybe just ask one or two of you, if you can just play along with me here right now. When you think of a top entrepreneur, who's the first name that actually comes to you? When you think of someone that's really successful as an entrepreneur, who's that first name that you think of?
Me. They think of me, man.
They do, absolutely. Wonderful. So tell me some of the qualities that you recognize in Wes that says to you, he's a great entrepreneur.
Funny.
Sense of humor. Yep. What else?
They're saying I'm extroverted, but they don't know I'm actually introverted.
Okay, extroverted.
I had to learn to be extroverted.
Yep. What else?
Driven.
Driven.
Okay. What else?
Networking. Yeah, social.
Networking.
Networking. What else?
Stealing? I stole some stuff today and brought it to class to show them.
Just pretend we didn't hear that one. Okay?
But you know that people steal ideas, or like there's good stealing and bad stealing. Here I am talking about honesty and stealing. At least I was honest with you where I got it from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is part of it, isn't it? Like, yeah. Anyhow, we won't go there. Okay.
Okay. What else? What else do you notice about Wes? as an entrepreneur?
Read stuff.
Likes to read stuff and be up to date with what's happening in the world.
Fantastic. Keeps up to date. Anything else? 2 more things.
2 more things.
I'm just waiting for 2 more things. Thank you.
This is good feedback. It sounds like you've been listening to me over the last 4 weeks.
2 more things.
Intelligent, like thinks through things.
Yes. So a problem solver. Is that what you're saying?
Solver.
Yep. Okay, great. What else?
Sorry? Very practical.
Very practical. Okay, that's
And what
great.
was the thing you said? Likes to bring people together, network them, and do all that.
Okay, great. All righty. So is a connector. Fantastic. There's a couple of other things that I just wanted to mention. One is resilience is really important as an entrepreneur. And the other thing that is really important as an entrepreneur is time management. And I have to say that that is something that I'm constantly working on the time management side of things. But the other thing that you want to also do when you're an entrepreneur is you want to make sure that you surround yourself with people that fill the gaps for you. So where you're not good at things, you surround yourself with people that actually fill gaps for you in the areas of your weakness. Does that make sense? If you think of Henry Ford was not that great, but what he did do, he surrounded himself with a lot of people who actually filled the gaps of the areas where his weaknesses were.
So does everyone know who Henry Ford was? He invented the car, yeah.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the only person who invented the car. There was about 50 other car companies at the time.
Wasn't originally called electric.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he managed to manufacture cars for the mass market. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Myrna.
Okay. Now, there's actually his book is really. Wes, do you remember what the book is called? I just can't think of it at the moment. But that might be a really good book for you to read on his biography, because it's a great entrepreneurial story. Henry Ford's story is a great I just can't think of the title of the book. If I do, I will actually pass it on. Okay, so, the reason why I chose network marketing is because of all of the things that I've just mentioned to you. I felt that I could tick a lot of those boxes. And so I felt that I could bring that to my network marketing business. Now, the reason why I chose a network marketing was the fact that I had the entrepreneurial spirit, but what I didn't have is I didn't have a lot of money. And that's one of the great benefits of when you do network marketing, is that you can actually step in, have a business, and without risk. That's a great thing. The other advantage of network marketing is that also it is really personal development that is wrapped up as a business. So when you're doing your network marketing business, you're given a system, and that system actually shows you the different things that you need to do in terms of strategies and branding and marketing and all of those things. You're provided with a lawyer because that's what the company provides you with. The company provides you with marketing material, so you don't have to go out there and market your material. The company actually manufactures the products, so you don't have to be concerned about the manufacturing of products. What you have to be concerned about is how you protect your mind, that you actually invest in personal development, and that you learn about the product, and that you actually learn about the business. But most importantly, what you learn about is people. Does that make sense? Yep.
So wait, do you hold events or something and to network with people?
That's a really good question, because it's what you're probably asking. The question is, how do you go about marketing in this? So yes, you hold events. So there can be seminars or webinars. Also, I would share samples. That's another way of doing it. But most importantly, what you need to learn to do is to listen to people. And then what you need to do is to find out what their need is and then give them value or give them a solution to their problem. So you need to be a really good problem solver. Does that make sense? Okay.
Myrna, that's the same whether you're in a network marketing business or any business, really, isn't it? Is how to listen to people and solve your customers' problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can, and Zig Ziglar said, if you can help people get what it is that they need, you will get what it is that you need. So the more you're actually able to problem solve, the more successful you're going to be. Okay, makes sense? All right. How much time do I still have, Wes?
Well, another 5 minutes, then I'll get them to ask you some questions. Is that okay?
That's great. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's wonderful. Now, the other reason why I also like stepping into my own business, because as Wes says, I've got a traditional business and then I also have a network marketing business. So my other business is in the area of being a vision board coach. So as a vision board coach, what I do is I show people how to be able to use vision boards as a solution tool to gain clarity in different areas of their lives, right? Both businesses that I have chosen, what drives me in doing this business and drives me in being committed to it and keeps me passionate is that what I want to do is I want to be able to leave a legacy. And it's very challenging to leave a legacy when you are an employee. It's much easier to leave a legacy when you're actually an entrepreneur. And if that's something that is in your heart, so that is something really to seriously think about and ask yourself the question, what is the legacy that you actually want to leave behind? Okay.
Okay, so you've got a list of questions. So Myrna, one of the things I need to do is actually find an entrepreneur and interview them. This is why I'm bringing all different entrepreneurs in so they can get some taste for how to do that. So questions for Myrna. You want to bring up those assignment questions that you've got. So I've actually already given Myrna those list of questions, but she's answered some, she hasn't answered all of them. But I want to get these guys used to asking questions.
Okay, great.
Okay.
It's two ways. You ask the questions and I get used to answering them.
Yeah. So I'm actually training Myrna at the same time here. She doesn't know that, but that's what I'm doing too. Yeah. Is that right?
Oh, no, don't worry, I got that. I was on to you with that.
Yeah. It's my way of training you. Okay. Come on. Should we start with the left and work around? One question each? Okay, go Denise. Okay, so Myrna, the question is about funding. How do you go with funding your business?
Okay. So as I mentioned to you, with a network marketing business, I basically used my credit card to actually fund myself initially, and I bought products with it. And then what I did was I sold the products for more than what I actually bought it for. And so I was able to get my money back that way. Right. Now, in a traditional business, it's a little bit more challenging, but that's why I say network marketing, it's a lot easier to do it because you don't have to have a lot of money and you don't have to risk an awful lot.
Okay, that's good.
Did you feel prepared to run the venture at the time that it launched?
That is such a good question. Was I prepared at the time that it was launched? In both businesses, I was not totally prepared. And what do I mean by not totally prepared? I didn't know all the things that might come up. The way I learned was by stepping out of my comfort zone and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Right? And the more I stepped out of my comfort zone, the more I actually became prepared, if that makes sense.
So Myrna, do you think that gets easier or it gets harder?
I don't think it ever changes because it depends on the parameters of the comfort zone, how far you stretch yourself. Because there's small comfort zones and there's medium comfort zones and then there's big comfort zones.
That's good. Okay, next one. Just going to take a photo. Oh, don't be shy.
What challenges did you encounter as an entrepreneur?
What challenges did I encounter
Yeah.
as I stepped? Okay, that's a really good question. What's your name?
Anita.
Anita. Okay, great. Anita, that is a really great question. The greatest challenge that I encountered was the mindset of being an entrepreneur, an employee, and stepping into becoming an entrepreneur. Because you have to have a completely different mindset. Because remember, I said to you that one of the things is that when you are an employee, if anything goes wrong, you can blame the boss, you can blame the manager, you can blame, your colleagues, whatever. But when you're actually an entrepreneur, there's no one else that you can blame except yourself. So that is the main challenges. The other challenges that I faced in having two businesses is that in my network marketing business, everything is set up for you. So there's a system already in place. You're given the product, you're given the marketing tools, you're provided with the speakers, you're provided with the legal side of things, you're provided with scripts on how to be able to approach people. Whereas when you step into a traditional business, you actually have to create that yourself, Anita. So what happens is that whereas in your network marketing business, you have the systems and everything in place, in your traditional business, you don't. You have to actually create it. And I think that's actually been the greatest challenge for me, okay? The other challenge that I have had, if I can be very transparent with all of you around the table here today, because some of you might face exactly the same thing that I have faced, is that I found in my network marketing business was a lot easier for me to promote other people and to promote other speakers. What I have to do now is I have to promote myself. And I'm still working through that because it's still easier for me to talk about someone else than it is to talk about myself. Okay? It's still easier for me to say how great somebody else is and why you need to come and listen to them and the kind of information that they're going to share with you than to talk about myself and what it is that I have to offer in my workshops. And I'm looking forward to the day when I break through that completely, when it no longer becomes a great challenge for me.
So, Myrna, let's just talk about this a bit because it's a huge issue for anyone in business because you are selling yourself. Like when you're starting your own business, you're selling yourself. And you and I have talked a lot about this. I know. What do you think has been some of the keys to that? What have you been learning so far around that?
One of the things that I've been learning so far is there's a lady called Dr. Teratai Trent, and I stepped out of my comfort zone. She's actually was someone that appeared on the Oprah show, and she's known as Oprah's favorite guest on there because Oprah invited her to come back twice, and Oprah actually signed her book as well, which is gave a foreword of it, and it's a foreword in a book called The Awakened Woman. She's from Zimbabwe, and she had a very big vision. And a big vision was to actually start up a school for in Zimbabwe. And so Oprah actually gave a 1.2 million towards that project of hers. Now, when I heard about this woman, I just felt really connected to her, and I really felt that I wanted to connect with her. And so I had the courage to actually send her a note and say, look, I really would like to spend some time with you. And she was very graceful. After 3 months, she came back to me and said, yes, I'm in Mexico now. Let's catch up. So we had a Zoom call, just like we're having today, We actually had a Zoom call together. And what she shared with me, which was very powerful, she talked about something called the little hunger, and she talked about what is known as the big hunger. And the little hunger that she referred to is when we are always focusing on our fears and when we're focusing on our ego. And the big hunger is where we're focusing on our legacy. And so the more I focus on what is the fruit that I can bring into the room when people are there, knowing that when they step into the workshops, that there's transformation that's going to take place and there's going to be change that takes place, it's become easier now for me to be able to actually brand myself and put myself out there and not feel self-conscious about it. Has it been easy? No. Is it still challenging? Yes. Is it a lot less challenging? Yes. And so I think when you focus not on yourself, but you focus on the other, on what it is that you want to bring, in my case, in the room, what is it that needs to come into the room? It's transformation that I'm looking for to take place in the room, knowing that when people come into that room, they won't be the same when they actually leave it.
So, Myrna, just to butt in here, one of the things I think that's helped is we've created a whole lot of videos for you of testimonials of the life change that's happened. Every time you do a workshop, we film probably about half the people that are there. Some don't want to be filmed. So those testimonials have also built up your credibility and things as well. Did you say that? Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's much more powerful when other people tell you about you and what they've experienced than for you to talk about yourself. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Yeah.
Do you have any employees, or are you just sort of your own, you work by yourself?
Okay. So remember that I have two businesses. So when it comes to my network marketing business, what I have is I have customers and then I have business partners. And those partners are actually independent distributors. So they are not my employees. My role is just to empower them and to show them where it is that they need to get information and show them how to be able to market the business, and help them in terms of personal development and teach them about the product and to give them business skills, right? So they are not my employees, they are independent. When it comes to my vision board workshop, I only have one person that I employ, and that is a VA, and I only employ her for about 5 hours a week. And she just does things for me, like keep my mailing list up to date, putting things in my diary and so on.
What is your long-term plan in your business?
So what's your long-term plan in your business?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question to ask me what my long-term plan is. And my long-term plan is that I want to step into the role of a transformational coach, and really get a lot more skilled in that area in transforming lives. So I want to be a transformational coach, and I also long-term, I also want to be able to speak internationally to a very large platform, thousands of people, and be able to influence them that way. I'd also like to have a book which is based on vision boarding and the power of vision. And coming from because I do come from Wes will probably back me up here, I come from a very different perspective when it comes to the vision. No one else does it the way I do it. It's very different. And so I'd like to share that in a book as well. And then what I'd really, really love to do on my long-term view is to bring more and more intergenerational people together, because I think that we need these different groups of people together, because people like myself have the wisdom, so I can bring the wisdom to you, but you guys have the energy. and you have a different way of thinking. So we learn from each other, and I'd love to see a lot more of that happening. Okay. Now I'm just going to challenge. There's a couple of guys in the room, and neither of you have said anything.
So they're next. So Javier, can I ask you a question?
Hello.
Hi.
So I heard that you had 2 businesses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are they related to the same industry?
So are the 2 businesses in the same industry?
Okay, so maybe I should actually it's a really good question that I didn't get your name.
Javier.
Javier, okay. So yes, they are related because they started as a result. How I started my vision board coaching business was because a lot of the people that I partnered with in my network marketing business, I could actually see the potential that they had, but they couldn't see it. So often I would say to them, go off and do such and such, but they didn't realize that they had the potential of doing it. And what I found out was that a lot of the reasons why they didn't step into that was because of a number of different reasons. The main reason being that they had fear. The other reason was that there was unforgiveness in their lives, or they didn't know how to be able to express gratitude, or there were unresolved issues in their lives. And so for a lot of them, that meant that they could not step into their destiny and step into their potential. And so it's related to that in that I use the vision boarding in that nature. But what I found was outside of that business too, that was a lot of the reasons why people weren't able to step into their destiny because of those reasons.
Myrna, I'm going to ask you a rude question.
Sure.
Was it considered rude? Do you want to say people how old you are?
Sure. I don't have a problem at all. How about get some people to guess though?
How old do you think Myrna is?
Late 30s.
No!
He'll
That's
go
why I
on,
said
mate.
that we have a guy standing up. Hey.
You what else do we get? Early 60s?
No, younger. 50s.
50s?
Early 50s.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
What about the lady here in the jumper on the right-hand side? You're on my right-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah, come
How old
on.
is she? 55 is coming through.
Okay, 55. Anyone else? You know we're close.
Nowhere close. No one is actually. No. So do you want to say, Myrna?
Yep, okay. So I'm actually, next in November, I will be 68.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So,
Well, congratulations.
so you started, how old were you when you started your network marketing business?
In 1998.
I born in 1990.
And really the vision board business has only been the last couple of years, isn't it?
Yes, it has been.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, you know, when you go into business, also choose a business that is going to be gentle for you as well, that's going to help you, okay? Because the network marketing business, it's a health network marketing business. So the reason why I look the way I look is because I have access to a lot of products that are anti-aging products. And I've learned a lot in that area. Okay, so you want to choose something that is going to be kind to you. And when you're doing your vision boarding as well, visioning also keeps you young. Because what is a vision? When you have a vision, you're excited and you're passionate. And those things keep you young.
So there you go.
Well, I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. So
2 years now.
like I get Myrna to share that with you because I think a lot of people, women don't tend to go into business till they're in their mid-30s and sometimes even later, like they have children, then once the kids get a bit older, they might do that. But there's quite a trend now for people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s to start to go into business themselves later on in life. Yeah. Although the stats are showing that 40% of businesses are now started by women. So it's changing. Women are really coming to the fore.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got 3 more people who haven't asked a question.
Yes.
And
Thank you for asking the question. And that was a great one. Thank you. And he's the winner.
Okay, far away.
Have you failed before?
Have you failed before?
What a great question. Every day.
Every day.
Every day I fail. Every day. Okay. And here's what, if I'm going to leave you with something today, allow yourself to fail, because if you're not failing, it means that you're not moving forward.
Not failing, not moving forward. Just don't fail your assessment.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to fail their assessment.
No, not the assessment, but in creating activities, entrepreneurial activities, allow yourself the luxury of failing.
Allow yourself the luxury of failing. That's a very, and actually, I heard someone say the other day to fail on your back because it's easier to get up and go again.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Okay, last 2. Have you had any other business ideas, Myrna, before you went into network marketing and your vision boarding business?
Yes, I did. Thank you. What was your name?
Stella.
Okay, thanks, Stella. What's your cultural heritage, Stella?
PNG.
PNG. Okay, lovely to meet you. So, Stella, that's a really good question, because I had a business as well. I had a screen printing business when I was in Sydney, and I worked from home with it. So I used to make designs and put them on T-shirts. And I also used to put them on fabric. And I had a girlfriend who had a fashion shop, and she would take my things on consignment. And that was a business that was another business that I actually had too.
So how'd you go with that, Myrna?
It was a lot of fun, but it definitely didn't make me a lot of money. It taught me a few business skills, but it definitely was not profitable.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
The last one.
What benefits you get as an entrepreneur?
So what benefits do you get as an entrepreneur?
The greatest benefit, I think, as an entrepreneur is the flexibility. The other benefit is being able to use the God-given talents that you've been given without the restrictions, because when you're an entrepreneur and you're working for yourself, you can actually take those ideas and implement them without having to be concerned about the feedback that you're going to get from the CEO or the manager. So that's very beneficial. The other thing, definitely the flexibility. And that flexibility can be from the point of view of how you manage your time. When you take your holidays, you're going to work harder as an entrepreneur than you're going to work as an employee, but you are going to have a lot more flexibility. Now, the greatest thing that I would say in network marketing that I've actually found that has been, there's been 3 times that it's been really shown to me is one of the things about network marketing is that you get paid you do the work, and then you get paid for the work for the rest of the time. And so often I don't have to turn up in my network marketing business because I've done a lot of work already, and I still get paid whether I turn up or not. It's a bit like when you actually write a book and then you get the royalties on the book. And so that's one of the greatest benefits of being an entrepreneur in the network marketing industry. With the vision boarding, if I don't turn up, I don't get paid. If I don't get clients, I don't get paid. So it's very different. It's very different in terms of the benefits. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys. It's doing really good. Any final questions?
The guy here with the Adidas Chi T-shirt, he hasn't asked a question.
Oh, yeah, he asked one question.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you did. Sorry, my
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Myrna, any final words that you want to say? This has been really great.
You know, the final words I'm going to say is that this generation, you have more opportunities as an entrepreneur than any other generation. You're also a generation that really thinks very differently than other generations. And yes, it's important to step out and have a job because that can pay your rent and it can pay your food and your clothes and all of that. But everybody in this room, I would encourage you to actually step in and become an entrepreneur and experience what it's like to being an entrepreneur. Because one of the things about your generation is that your jobs are changing very fast. So you could be studying for a job for 2 or 3 years, but by the time you qualify, that job may not necessarily have the same importance as it did when you started studying. Does that make sense? So you always have to have a plan B. And by also having here's what I would say, even if you're working at your business full-time and you're working at a business part-time, when it comes to when you're actually working full-time and you need to negotiate and you need to go to your manager and ask them for a pay raise, you will be a lot more successful at doing that when you're working part-time as an entrepreneur because you would have learned negotiating skills. And also when you're sitting in front of that manager and you're negotiating, you won't be going there with a begging kind of attitude because you already have something else that you can fall back on. Does that make sense? So my parting words for you is just step into and become that entrepreneur. And I look forward to seeing what it is you choose.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Myrna. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
And we'll talk again.
Okay, bye.
Bye.